Hello and welcome back to Newcastle Fans 2. Ooh, start again. Hello everyone, welcome back to Newcastle Fans 2. That's probably the first times I've got it wrong live.
Nervous, Johnny?
I know, must be nervous. You got
all
me.
This new kit.
It is. That's probably what it is, to be fair. It's probably because it's a Friday night and we're live. We are live because we've got two working cameras, and so it's a bit of a bonus. A very good evening to Paul. Get all your comments in because we're going to be live for the next 45 minutes to an hour talking all things Manchester United versus Newcastle United on Sunday. We're going to be talking about stadium name changes, moving stadiums, increasing capacity, Dan Ashworth, Bruno Guimaraes. Honestly, you've got so much to look forward to.
Loads.
But Lee, it's been a busy week for Newcastle, hasn't it? With the women's team and, of course, the men's team as well. I think first things first, the City's still on a buzz from that 5-0 win against Brentford last week, isn't it?
Yeah, 9 goals. And Eddie Howe talks about that, which I know there's a graphic coming up later, but 9 goals in 2 games, class. Love to say that it's going to happen again this weekend. We can live in hope. I'd be happy with 1 or 2, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's been a great time in Newcastle. You know, it's only a couple of weeks ago, Eddie Howe would have had a small critics that were popping up in our live feed. But look at now, we're sitting in a European place, which is mint.
Yeah, get your comments in, get your score predictions in for the game on Sunday against Manchester United, and also put your team in as well in the comments as well, because we'd like to get all your comments out in the next 45 minutes or so. Big thanks to OneFootball sponsoring this video, as they have been for the last few months as well. So big thanks to them. The link will be in the description for OneFootball. They'll have all the results for this weekend's Premier League matches. There's actually one tonight, Brentford versus Brighton, and on Sunday, Man United versus Newcastle, but Lee as well. Leeds versus Arsenal, Southampton, West Ham, and Aston Villa, Chelsea, all kicking off at the same time. Your phone will be pinging inside Old Trafford. So
it has, and that's the one thing I do like about. I know Steve says about the OneFootball, he likes watching the live matches. I like it how it pings, and it's somehow got a signal strength inside of a stadium. It pings with the goal goes in.
Yeah. So when you see Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 1, and Bruno Guimaraes has just scored, in all those celebrations, you'll see, or you'll hear a little ping, and that's the OneFootball app. So make sure you download that. The link will be in the description.
Also, a little Ferdinand with us tonight as well.
Yeah, we've got the.
You might say making a cameo appearance, pestering Johnny later.
Probably, and I'm going to go Ferdinand get down now. Ferdinand get down. Probably something I never thought I'd say in my life. But we're going to talk all things first. Dan Ashworth's been doing a few interviews this week, hasn't he, Lee? And he's been talking about the ambition of Newcastle United and where Newcastle can be. And it's probably a good week to do interviews like this. Before we kind of go in depthly about what he said and what he didn't say and what, you know, all the good things from what he has said, it is nice that we're getting communication from people at that sort of level inside the football club, because we've obviously missed that with the previous ownership.
Our friend Dan Ashworth, who phoned ahead of us last week, didn't he, for the women's, which was nice of him. But yeah, he's come out and done some press releases, which is great, and so has the CEO as well. But look, it's what we wanted: communication, transparency. It's what we lacked with Mike Ashley and Lee Charney for 12, 13 years, and it's good to see him like the club are wanting to reach further heights, such as, you know, the big. We'll call them 6, the greedy 6, as I like to call them, pushing for Europa League or even Champions League and dream. But it's good to see that they're speaking out. I love it.
Yeah, and just looking, obviously, you can see on your screen now what Dan has been saying to the written press most of the time that were given that opportunity to speak to Dan Ashworth. He's obviously mentioned Manchester City, Chelsea, and Arsenal and how good their squads are and infrastructure, what they've done in the years. There's some clubs to catch. It's a really difficult job, but it is possible. How is it possible? What do we need to do as a club?
I know it's going to come. I know you're going to talk about it, because I feel a little bit heated about the stadium change. Look, I think the training ground, obviously, we were there last week. We can see it on our eyes. It's getting development. I think you've got to improve your facilities. Obviously, they are looking for a horizon to go to a proper state-of-the-art facility in the long term. Of course, they are. It is, unfortunately, it's got to come down to commercial revenue because of financial fair play. So that means obviously changing the likes of Fun in 8, even possibly Castor in a couple of years' time. You know, they might, and I hate to say it, they might have to sell a player to cash in on.
Who? Bruno?
Well, how much no, I don't want to sell him, but if the club were to look at it and think, do you know what? If we got a stupid daft amount for 150 million for Bruno to bring in 2 world-class wingers, that'll cause a debate of Newcastle fans, wouldn't it? It's somewhere that they can look at. I don't think they'll look at the playing squad just yet. I think they'll look at other things like the stadium name change, even naming rights for the training ground. I'm all right with that. If they want to have it, a Aramco or a Saudi Airlines training ground, I'm all right with that. But I think it's first and foremost is you've got to change like the likes of Fun 88.
Yeah, I think it's the history, and that's what we're saying, James's Park. Get your comments in. Look, what do you think in regards to name changes, etc., etc.? Ben says, "I hope we smash United." It's Man United, Ben. I hope we smash Manchester United this weekend, as they just 1-0 against a team from Europe that have the same caliber of Carlisle United. Then we should hammer them, no problem. But
just to point out, we were United 10 years before Man U.
Exactly. I'm sick of it. Sick of it. But Ben, thanks very much for watching. If you can, Lee, go back to Dan Ashworth's picture, because he does talk about the commercial revenues, and it's a really, really interesting bit on the quote. It says, "We don't have the commercial revenues yet that Europe drives to be able to pay for those players to come to the club. There are lots of steps that have to be put in place, but the support network and the size of the club, the potential of the club is huge." Now, the commercial revenues, that argument will never go away in terms of Newcastle United right now. Look, we're currently sitting in the top 6, but look, Liverpool are going to get stronger because it's Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool. It's going to happen. Man United are a bit up and down.
Aren't we only getting like 5 million a year from Castor?
Yeah, it's like Castor 5 million a year. Fun 88, I don't know how much Fun 88 are paying, but it's not going to be paying the same amount.
Aren't like Liverpool getting like, is it something like 150, 200 million?
I don't think it's that much, but it's not that far off.
Something daft like that.
It is daft, but again, we're not as big as Liverpool, Manchester United. I think they're poor examples in that respect, but we should be a lot bigger in terms of money, in terms of sponsorship, than £5 million, in my opinion, in certain aspects. But look, it is an interesting debate. I just think that the name of the ground is always going to be, it's going to be a conversation, which I think will happen. I don't think we're going to mention Darren Neal's in a bit. He was obviously speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle. The one thing he did say, he would speak to supporters about it. You know, obviously you got the Chronicles picture there. It says fans won't be priced out of St James's Park. Even in the Ashley era, they weren't really priced out.
Because we weren't told.
Exactly. But that's good to hear as well, because look, regardless of what you think is going on with the government right now, it's football is an escape for a lot of people. It's a luxury for a lot of people, Lee, and you want to go to the game if you can afford to go to the game, because that is like an escape for a lot of people. It
is for me. I love going. I go home and away. It's a mental health escape for me. Love traveling. Love getting excited. Love filming. Love all of that. Just going on that, I think, because obviously with the stadium change, you talk. Ashley did it twice, and it was Sports Direct Arena, and then it was Sports Direct Arena at St James's Park, which was just a bit of a mouthful. We had a bit of stick from other fans calling it that, giving us a bit of stick. But look, I think I don't want to say it changed. I'm going to be brutally honest. I'll get away with it. I'll accept it, but I won't be happy with it if it's a sponsor, St James's Park, a bit like the new camp is at the minute. It's Spotify Camp Nou. I'll accept that.
What about St James's Park powered by Saudi Airlines?
Yeah, I'll accept that. I'm not happy with it, but I'll accept it. I get the reason why. I understand, because we're trying to move forward with financial fair play. It's ripping the heart out of your DNA. And obviously us two being Geordies, we're local lads. I work next door to it. I can't escape it. It's St James's Park. It'll always be St James's Park, even if it was to be a name change. But it's like the owners, it's a sensitive topic because they're walking on eggshells with the fans, because everything has been great so far. They've got to get this right.
Would you rather a name change or a ground change?
If I had to choose the two, ground change.
Really? Oh, no.
If you're giving me the two, because St James's Park is our home since 1892, and it always will be. I understand the Gallagher extension, etc., and listed buildings and what have you. But if you're going to completely change your stadium, that can have naming rights. It has no history, like the Emirates and the Etihad. Yeah, Etihad's been changed 3 times. It was the Community of Manchester. It was the Commonwealth Stadium. It was that.
But do you not think the ground, where the ground is, the history of the ground? Could you imagine even the ground? Say the ground moved to where the Hoppings is, for example.
If the stadium gets changed to St James's Park, gets written out, and it's called Aramco Airline Stadium, I'd rather just have a new stadium.
Wow.
Because it's just ripping the heart out. It's the name. the name doesn't necessarily. It's our home. The name is us. It represents us. St James's Park will always will be. So if you're going to change the stadium name, you may as well just have a new stadium.
Let's have a look at some of the comments, because I think this will be a really, really interesting conversation with a lot of people, because it is a really, really fascinating talking point. Paul says, I said on another show last night, St James's Park is burned into our hearts. It's true. Dan says, I think commercial game will come once we have established being in the top 6 clubs. But I think the argument with that, Dan, is that how can you be a top 6 club by the end of the season when you don't have that commercial?
I get
bar Leicester City, who had an unbelievable season, and Newcastle, even when we finished 5th under Alan Pardew.
I get the commercial side. I'm not saying I don't look. If it means that Newcastle can go and get another Bruno every season, not just that, maybe go and splash like 100 million because of the stadium name change, I get that. I won't be fully happy with it, but I get it.
Dave says, even the lads, I don't have a problem with the possible stadium name change to me if it holds something, and it always will be St James's Park to fans anyway, if it helps with financial fair play. Look, I think that's basically what you're saying, Lee. Look, it'll always be St James's Park. I know why. I will always call it St James's Park. I think the best worst case scenario for me, I think St James's Park, powered by Live Golf, let's say that, for example, I could live with that.
I see what you did there.
No pun intended.
You didn't mean that, did you?
No, I didn't actually mean that. But that would be kind of the best worst case scenario for me. I just think if I don't want to move St James's Park, and I do like the fact that there was a lot more confidence from other people inside the club that basically saying that St James's Park isn't going to be moved anytime soon.
Let me ask you this then: why hasn't Old Trafford got a sponsor then? It's just called Old Trafford because they're setting their own ways. They will not change that. I think they could make more. I know they're mega rich. Before anyone says in the comments, I know they've got money all over the place, but they could have a bigger increase of commercial income if they change that name.
Yeah, 100%. I get that. I think you hit the nail on the head. They don't need to. They've already getting vast amount of money,
but they could have more money.
Oh, they could do.
They could have 500 million a season. Well,
but they're still spending.
Maybe going over the top there.
I know we're talking a bit about Man United, but Man United can still afford to go and spend £90 million on Anthony without changing Old Trafford name. And let's be honest, they probably need a lot more if they want to win a title anytime soon. Technically, we already changed the name. It's St James's. What was it? Technically, messed up one. Sorry about that, mate. Technically, we already changed the name. It's St James and not St James's. That's an interesting one. I've seen something
like I say, if the training ground got changed, I'm all right with that.
Yeah,
because if we're
called Darsley Park.
Yeah, Whitley Park, Darsley Park, or whatever you want to call it.
Darsley Park, sponsored by.
Yeah, or you can change. Or if you say a new income, a new company. Look, we're building this mega facility. Do you want to have it naming rights for the next 5 to 10 years? Give us X, Y, and Z. That's fine. That's a route where I think all fans would accept that.
I think they will accept that. Eddie Howe's been talking today, but before we go into the press conference, he was very happy with the NUFC hierarchy. Speaking to different outlets, he has said today, I think it's important that everyone associated with the club has a feeling that we're a team behind the team. A strength of the collective. We've got really good personalities driving the club to be its very best. Now, there was obviously Darren Eales has been talking this week. Dan Ashworth has been talking this week. Last week we had pretty much all the owners talking last week. Jamie Rubin, Amanda and Mirdad. No one from PIF, but I had a letter from Yasser Al-Ramayan. So everybody's on the same page, if you like. And it is nice. There are obviously a lot of rumours that Newcastle's commercial, we're talking about the commercial side of things again, that's going to be strengthened. I think it's called Mark somebody, I think off the top of my head. I think let us know in the comments what he's called, the commercial guy.
I used to work for Arsenal.
Yeah. Why do I feel like it's Mark somebody, but I could be wrong.
If they're bringing in a specialist for that, great. It's a specialist in, it's not like just a marina, I don't know. A specialist in failure. And hopefully it's not a failure. I get that, yeah, bringing in their own individual people who are like, Darren Eales literally brought Atlanta from zero to what it is now, a mega house in MLS. They're bringing in people who can be part of the board. Like they brought in, what's his name? Brought him in later on, who was charged of the golf.
Oh, yeah.
I did a video on him as well. Your mind went, but brought him in.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
They're bringing in specialist. Dan Ashworth is a specialist, So I get that. I totally do.
Yeah. Has anyone actually put in the comments of the guy who I was talking about? Is he called Mark somebody?
I wish he was. I
Mark
wish
over Mark.
No, he's been a bit
of a naughty boy, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. He's quick off the mark. We'll say that.
Yes. And then we'll leave.
See what I did there?
Yes, I do. We'll leave it at that. Karen says, would you rather the stadium name change or Champions League football every season? Or Champions League football every season? If No stadium name change, but a Champions League every season. No, I think I kind of get what Karen says. Super City says, good luck to Newcastle. I can't wait for you to push one of the red cartel down, bring on our title battles. Thank you very much, Super City. I'm sure.
That's because he knows we're playing Man U.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Everyone hates Man United. Everyone hates Man United. Rumour of the green light next week, Wednesday. The other day, stadium expansion. I'm going to mention stadium expansion a little bit later on. But what I do want to talk about is anniversaries. And I'm not talking about my anniversary of Newcastle Fans TV last week. No. We're talking about 130th anniversary shirt. Lee, are you a fan?
No.
Why?
I don't like it, first of all. Secondly, I think it's a money exercise. Don't know who's made the decision, whether it's Castoria, whether it's a club or both. I just think there's already 4 kits out already asking fans to, which they will. Some fans will go for it. To dip in another 65 quid for a 5th kit, I think it's scandalous, me.
I like
that.
It
might be a strong word.
Yeah, I like it actually.
I just don't like it. What's the point in it?
No, I think that the point is it's a 130th anniversary shirt.
Is it? Is it 130 years? Because that's, you know.
Well, 1892 to 2022 is 130.
That's the name change, though.
All I'm saying, that's 130. If you take 130 away from 2022, you get 1892.
It's the anniversary of a name change. That's what I'll say. Because I'm going to sit on the fence. I'll go with our official historian, Paul Joannou. He says we're older than that, 1881. So I'm going to go with him.
Get in the comments. Do you like it? If you do like it, press like, because I do like it. If you put this picture back on, Lee, because I want to just quickly go in about the pattern. You can see in the pattern, there's like different years that are significant to the football club as well. If you look really closely, again,
squint your eyes.
You squint your eyes. But I think it looks really nice. I like the just.
Yes, Tom knows.
Tom knows.
I love you, Tom. Always been a good bloke, you.
Yeah, 141 years old, says Tom. But 130 years is a bit of a weird milestone. Yeah, I do agree. The only thing I can remember is Castor did something similar for Rangers. I don't know if there's any Rangers fans in the comments, if there's like Rangers and Newcastle fans. If they can tell us what that would be quite interesting as well. I never thought I'd agree with Lee on anything fashion based, but this shirt isn't for me, says Mr. Mulner. Hope you're well. Hope the family's well. Sam, it's been a bit of a sick week for the Mulner household, but no,
at least I don't wear Sainsbury's tops.
No, you don't wear Sainsbury's tops in front of Chris Dobie and Colin Ridds. No, you don't. That could be a very, very embarrassing moment. But again, I've seen you with some rascal caps, by the way, Lee. So we'll leave it at that. But get in your comments. Do you like the shirt? Do you not like the shirt? Tell us why. We'll get some of the comments out in a second.
I don't get it. I as much as positivity I have of Newcastle, there's the one thing I don't like.
We're never always going to be happy.
It's another kit. We've already just had one, which I think that's really nice. The one that wore Brighton. I think that's beautiful. But why do you need another one for 130 years? Like the comment said before, that's a really odd milestone. It's just a strange one. We're going to have another one for 135, 140,
131.
It's for me, Castoria. Even though I'm wearing one, I'm a hypocrite for saying that. But it's a money-making exercise for fans. Do you really need that top?
Do you really need that coat?
Yes, because it's cold. And the one I've got, the puffer jacket, which is up there, which you can't see, is too hot at the moment. So I'll be wearing that in December when I'm back at the games, Boxing Day, whatever.
Yeah, Amazon will be providing our Boxing Day game against Leicester City, which are one of our sponsors. They're still one of our sponsors, aren't they?
Yeah.
Amazon, yeah. So make sure you get Amazon. I think the Rangers kit was for 150. Well, that makes a bit more sense, Ollie, doesn't it? 150 years. So I don't guess that. I'm fine, thanks, lads. 2 hours left at work, then after London tomorrow for the Savannah Marshall fight. Yeah, Sam is a part-time work member, isn't he?
He's hardly ever on the channel nowadays, isn't he?
No, I don't even know who he is, really. Frankie says he agrees with Lee. It's a cash-making exercise. Shouldn't be asking fans to fork out for another shirt in this current financial climate. Frankie, if we could talk about the Tories and the mini budget, I think we'd be here till about 2 o'clock the next day, but I'll leave it for today. Tom says 1881 is Stanley FC. 1882 is Newcastle East End. September 1892, Newcastle East End moved to St. James's Park following rivals Newcastle West End going bust. December 1892, Newcastle East End changed their name to Newcastle United. That is some history.
It is. It's mad what happened before 1892. We could do a video on that one day. Maybe. I mean, we'll have to make it with facts, right? Because we might need...
Tom, what are you doing in November when the World Cup's on?
Get yourself on. Were you around that time?
We'll meet at St. James's. let's talk about Eddie Howe's press conference because it's been very, very interesting. But the first question was about Mr. Bruno Guimaraes, the man of the match against
everybody.
against Brentford. Honestly, he was incredible. Do you think Eddie Howe said to Bruno at the end of the game, in the words of the late Robbie Coltrane, "You're a wizard, Bruno"?
He is a wizard, isn't he? That hair in it seems to get a bit of a buzz when every time he dyes his hair. And obviously, I think it was a question asked that would Eddie Howe be against all the team going yellow like the Romanians did in 1998 World Cup, except from the goalkeeper because he was bald. But look, he's getting. I think this is something that Newcastle fans are going to have to start to expect, because we're starting to bring in a better caliber player. They will be linked to, no disrespect, because Real Madrid are a much bigger club than Newcastle.
Biggest club in the world for me, Real Madrid.
One of them, yeah. So our players and future players will get linked to bigger clubs because we're going to bring in a higher caliber player. If you look at other players, if Isak just has a great season, he might be linked to a bigger club in the Champions League. It's going to happen, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't like the fact, though, that he's come out publicly and said he spoke to Real Madrid. I don't like that. That's tapping up for me. And it does happen. It goes on.
Well, it might be a case of Real Madrid saying, "Hi, Bruno, you're all right. Do you like Real Madrid? Do you like Spain? Do you like Madrid?" It might have been something like that.
That's tapping up. It happened, though. It does happen. I bet Newcastle.
James Maddison, do you like Newcastle?
Yeah, of course. You're telling me James Maddison's probably not had one conversation with no one at Newcastle?
Look, I have to be honest. I'm sure I did see him on the Tyne Bridge in August, but it could have been somebody else. That's all I'm saying. Look, keeping Bruno Guimaraes is definitely something that Newcastle have got to try and do as long as they physically can. Sandra's not on the channel much, but still did all those press conference graphics.
He did. To be fair, I pinched them off Twitter.
Do you know what it is? He does love a little bite, doesn't he? All the way from Stafford.
Yeah, I was once praised, doesn't he?
That was a big bite, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was once praised, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's a bit. I'm not too sure about that. But Eddie Howe did speak on how to keep Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle United. For me, just win games of football, and that solves a lot of problems. But Eddie Howe did say we desperately want Bruno to be here, happy, and to see a long-term vision here. We have to build positivity. I can't say. I'm going to give up positively. Positively. That's not even how you say it, is it?
We have to build positivity. I think there's been a misspell there. Must be that graphics guy.
Aye. And as long as a player sees progression in the team and us building, then we want to build quality, not lose it. He's the first name on the team sheet.
He is now, isn't he? He is now. If you look at Newcastle's lineup, if you're making a dream 11, you start off with Bruno first, don't you? I say dream 11. I'm being a bit carried away. If you're doing your first 11, it's gonna be Bruno first, then you build around it. Of course you do.
I'll tell you what I do like.
Is there anyone in the Newcastle squad that can get to his level?
Ooh. Too early to tell on Isak. Too early to tell on Botman. Interesting. Alan Saint-Maximin.
Who's more important?
If he can be consistent.
Who's more important now, Bruno or Wilson?
Bruno.
So there you go.
Bruno, because we've got a bit of cover now. We don't really have that cover in terms of that quality. Yes, we have cover in midfield, but we don't have that quality of cover. So
goals win to games, doesn't it? It's an interesting one.
I'll tell you what I do like. I do like the song that we've got for Bruno. It has been mentioned a few times now.
The new one.
Yeah, but I think it'll be sung quite a lot at Old Trafford. So for anyone that's going to Old Trafford, please sing this song. We've got Bruno in the middle. He knows exactly what we need. Botman at the back. Isak in attack. Newcastle going to win the Premier League.
Maybe on the vlog this Sunday.
Who knows? Yeah, that is certainly one song I did like singing last week at where was it last week? Wonderbar. Nobody is anywhere near Bruno's levels. There's 2 coin.
Not Cozy Joe's. I did go
to Cozy Joe's. I did go to Cozy Joe's for like 15 minutes, and then I spoke to the guy behind like the jukebox bit. How long? About an hour and 10 minutes away. I was
like, Gaz again.
Your mate, I was like, politely, I said, no, I'm not doing that.
Did you say, are you the guy from Nando's again?
No, I didn't. We'll move on. How, Eddie, has Bruno been given a pass out of the match yet? Ooh, with the baby. Could you imagine? Hope not. Let's just keep him. Let's just make sure, like, between, like, I don't know, Tottenham and Aston Villa, Let's see, make sure that happens. But there were 2 big wins for Newcastle since the international break. Winning is so important, says Eddie Howe. It changes everything. The players have trained very well this week. There's a bounce and a buzz, but I'm keen to make sure that dangers that come with winning, like complacency and overconfidence, don't rear their ugly head. There is a bounce. There is a buzz. You can even feel it in the city at the minute. I think that this buzz has been here for 12 months, let's be honest. But what do we think? Because this is a danger in terms of a big game.
Who do you think's got overconfidence then? Do you think Bruno has or Wilson has? Because they're very confident lads.
They are. I think
Callum Wilson's backing himself to make the England squad.
I do think we've got a confident bunch of players. My issue is
I think we've got confidence players like Miggy, which I'm sure Miggy will talk about. I think
Murphy's a confident player. But my issue is, in terms of the opposition we're playing, it's such an awkward one.
I think Fabian Schär's another one as well. He's a confidence player.
Possibly. But I think we've got such an awkward opposition this weekend in terms of this sort of complacency, because we don't really know what Manchester United we're going to be playing this weekend, because I do not rate some of their players, but they're getting away with it. But the 3 games that they've lost this season, they've been tonked.
Hopefully that's a 4th.
Hopefully it's a 4th this weekend, of course, but I'm just not too sure. But 2 big wins, as we mentioned, and this week we've got three very difficult games. If we're being honest, it's a big week for us, says Eddie Howe. I'm not going to hide away from that. 2 away games, being Manchester United and Spurs, are very tough, and will give us a marker of where we are. The league is taking shape, and we want to be around where we currently are. It's important we keep the forward momentum. The league is taking shape, and we want to be around where we currently are.
That tells you a lot, doesn't it?
Is that Eddie Howe's target to get into the top 6 this season?
Secretly, yes. I think he's looked at the squad and thought, you know what, after that run that we've been on since mid-January, after that Watford game, because we were all doing the videos, weren't we? Cambridge, Watford were all deflated, then we just went on that run, then we went to Leeds, and the rest is history. So I think even if the league started when the takeover happened, Newcastle would have been 6th or 7th. That's
where we are now, 6th.
Yeah, so that's where we are 12 months ago as well, if you start the league. So it tells you where Newcastle are. So the question is, do Newcastle have a squad for Europe? I don't think so, not yet. But that will come. Nah.
When you look at other teams, like everyone was tipping Aston Villa have a good
West
season.
Ham.
West Ham are just kind of getting a little bit of form.
West Ham have got a better squad, I would say, overall than us, and they're struggling at the minute.
Well, I wouldn't say they're struggling. They won the last 4 games, West Ham, in competitions.
Well, we'll say I don't think we've got the depth yet to do Thursday, Sunday.
Certainly not. But this season,
but I think a couple of transfer windows like January but I think realistically, I've always said I think top 10, but comfortably top 10. You're not having to look at 11th, 12th, 13th. You're way above them. I think if Newcastle can improve on the points tally by 8 to 10 points, I think that's an improvement on last season.
We'll see. Certainly see.
I like how the fact that we haven't gone daft into the Man City.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Let's
get your comments in, because we're going to talk about Alexander Isak in a second. But I want to see what the people have to say. Kenny says, "I read Bruno has he been offered or has signed a new contract?" According to Fabrizio Romano, who we've had on the show, on Newcastle Fans TV, he has been offered a new deal. There's certainly talks going to be on the way. He hasn't signed anything yet, but hopefully that does happen. Well, he isn't going to stay. I'm going to lose this game. Aaron says Man United are awful defensively.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Aaron says Man United are awful defensively when being pressed high. That's a good point, actually, because when Newcastle love to press. If we do what we did against Man City and Brentford, we'll win 3-1. Come on, you Magpies. Lewis says, I only bought the new shirt because I want to collect as many as I can. I know for a fact Sam will buy it. Even though you might not
I don't think there's anything wrong with you buying it. That's not what I'm saying. I just think it's a money exercise that you don't really necessarily need, personally.
Yeah, 100%. Alexander Isak, the question last week was, could he be fit for this game?
Yeah.
The answer is no. He's not going to be playing against Manchester United this weekend. He's making progress, but he's not available for this game. We've not picked up any new injuries. That's important.
Disappointing, though. He's not available.
Disappointing, but again, imagine if he was starting against Everton. That'd be a bit of a buzz as well, wouldn't it?
Don't think he will, though. Eddie Howe, does he normally chuck them in?
It depends, but the only reason why I'd say he might chuck him in from the start is because we've got the 3 games this week. And
he did talk about rotation in his presser, didn't he?
He did, and I think we will see changes going into the Everton game. Maybe just subtle changes. Maybe Fraser comes in for Miggy, or saint-maximin comes in for Almiron or something. You know what I mean? Like or whoever. That could be certain things that we have to think about. But look, I think while positivity's there, and my confidence
is
high,
Callum Wilson going to get through 90 minutes?
I think Callum Wilson plays 2 out of the 3 games.
This weekend, does he play the full 90? Or does
No,
he
I don't
then
think he
bring-
does. Anyway, and look, I think before I get battered in the comments, if Chris Wood comes on for 25 minutes, I'm kind of happy with that. If he's
I'm going to throw this out here. Yeah. Well, for 1-0 down.
Oh God.
Yeah, we're going.
No, he then doesn't come on. No, but if we're drawing or winning the game against Man United,
You've got the option of ESM up top as well.
exactly. I just think I'd love to see Chris Wood just especially Lissandro Martinez. I know we're going to talk about Man United's team in a bit, but he should be able to batter them, no issues whatsoever. In terms of more injury news, it's kind of like players that we're not expected to see really. John Shelby's getting close. He has trained, not necessarily full training at the moment, but he's very, very close. So if he's close to full training, could we see him at the end of the week, maybe against Tottenham? That might not necessarily be out.
I hope we're seeing before the World Cup.
I think we will. There's certainly games now. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games left before the World Cup for Newcastle. So
that's even though we've won 2 in a row, I still think he's a miss.
Oh, he is. He certainly is a miss,
and I think he's much, much more improved with Eddie Howe, especially how we'll play with the pressing as well. It'd be great to see him back, and it's more competition for places as well because Joe Willock's fighting for his place, and he's shown a bit of form in the last 2 games. It's good for competition. With Matt Ritchie, I think he's out the door, really. I don't think we'll see him much. And I think if he's back before the World Cup, I don't think he'll play.
Has Matt Ritchie played his last game for Newcastle?
No, not yet. I think he'll probably have 1 or 2 sub-appearances from Boxing Day at New Year. And I think he'll get his move down south.
Possibly. We'll have to wait.
What does he bring now?
He's got experience, Premier League experience.
He does, but if you look at now, Johnny, who's in front of him? Jacob Murphy's in front of him.
Yeah. Well, look, I certainly wouldn't close the door on him just yet, considering
I wouldn't. But if you look at where wingers now, Fraser's ahead of him, Murphy's ahead of him, Almiron's ahead of him, ESM's ahead of him.
It is important that
he's got no legs now.
He hasn't, but I think he still obviously brings something to Newcastle. And he's been here since the Championship days, which seems like a long time ago. I was just thinking about the Championship days as I was walking into the office, but it'd be interesting to see what happens. Greg says it would be nice to see Wood and Fraser playing together. Fraser's crosses should be a dream for Chris Wood, but again, you're not going to take the place of Callum Wilson. Graham says if I was female, I would want Bruno's babies. Fucking love him already. Future Toon legends.
Graham's been turned.
I think so. Kenny says, Lewis, let us know when you get my last 3 orders haven't come through.
Well, to be fair to Castoria, I've ordered a couple of stuff and they came 2 days later. So
we're getting better, are they?
I think so.
Possibly. But Eddie Howe has actually spoken about Newcastle's wingers because obviously Miguel Almiron's been in fantastic form this season and he's already matched his goal tally of a couple of seasons ago of 4 goals. I think he only scored 1 goal last season. But they've done a great job for the team in regards to the wingers. Miggy is scoring goals and playing well. Murph has come in and done so well. He's scored and is giving us really good options in that position, which we need due to physical demands. It's especially when you play, or mentioned in a previous comment about the press.
There's a lot of running. There's a lot of running.
But you look at it though.
Miggy got a couple of goals off it though.
Yeah, but I'm just obviously that's where we got 2 goals against Brentford last week. But as well though, Lee, Miggy, we always talk about his work rate. Jacob Murphy, work rate. Ryan Fraser, work rate. These players, you can trust them to do a job. Alan Saint-Maxim's slightly different, but he does when he needs to, he does put the yards in.
I'm gonna ask you a question, actually.
Oh, I like this.
If I had to give you the option, I want to put you on camera when I do this as well. Where is it? If there's one place up for position right now, and it's ASM or Miggy, who are you playing right now?
Ooh. ASM.
I think I'm going with Miggy, and I thought I'd never say that. I think ASM, you know what you get from him. He's indifferent. He's either going to have a worldie or he's going to have a stinker.
Surely that's the same with Miggy in terms of
not right now. I don't think. I think there's a little bit of he's a 7 at least every game.
You say ASM or Miggy? Who's starting on the other side? Give us saying.
Well, we know Miggy's going to play on the right. We know that. But if it comes down to one of those 2, right now, I think it's Miggy. Because he's just
Miggy's certainly got
the top scorer.
He's certainly got the confidence, and we can't shy away from that.
And like next week, I might change my mind.
Yeah, I just think ASM. We spoke with Simon Smith on the Greenwood and Mullin show. Make sure you give that a watch. And he spoke about Shay Given and Steve Harper, and he asked Savoy Robson, "Can I ask why Shay over Steve?" And he just said, "Shay Given can make a save that I don't think Steve can make." I think ASM could win us a game with an assist or a goal that Miggy can't.
Well, I'll chuck Man United away in there. Miggy will do more off the ball than what ASM will. right now.
And that might be another
do you know what
reason.
it is? We've slagged them off something rotten. Everybody has in the comments, and we have, you have, Fordy has, famously. And we've slagged them off, but isn't it nice to see them being actually positive player for change and one of our better players for the last few weeks, taking that into pre-season. And again, that shows you how much Eddie Howe's worked on a lot of individual players. A lot of them have gone up a level. Not every single one, but there's at least 7 to 10 players.
Yeah, I was going to say there's loads. You could say 4 or 5 that were actually on the pitch last week.
Miguel Miron is being talked about with the media as being a threat. So when Eric Ten Hag does his team, and I'm sure he's done all that, there's no doubt whoever plays left back will talk about Miggy because of his form. He's the top scorer and he's scoring goals and he's grafting. He's getting, the article was done on the club's website about him, how he's having more touches in the box, more of it. Can he get it in double figures? That's the big ask.
I think he can, but again, get down, Ferdinand. I think he can, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens because I think ASM, that's the argument, isn't it? Whether he starts, and we'll talk about Newcastle in a minute, but that's the big question. If ASM starts, I don't know, but Miggy's having the form of his life. But let's look at Newcastle's last few results this season. Obviously, we've only the 1 defeat actually for Newcastle this season. I'm sure everybody can remember who that was against. But since then, 2 draws, 2 wins. We conceded 3 goals in 4 games, but we've scored, we have scored a lot. We've scored 10. So we are a threat going forward.
It's a busy October now.
Yeah, October was always going to be tricky. Though we've done a video on that a couple of weeks ago, but we've won 2 out of 2. Going into this week where we've got Man United, Everton, Spurs, and then Villa at the end of a very busy couple of weeks. They're the big 4 games now, if we're being honest. I thought Everton would be the easiest game on paper, but we'll do well to better the Brentford result.
Look, if you look at that, we've only got 1 defeat. What's it in 10? How many league games we played?
9 games.
9 dice or 10. Good tram, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got 1 defeat in 10, and that was a dodgy decision which went in the 98th minute, which we were all devastated. And so really, we should really be 10 unbeaten. That's a hell of a start. How often do you say that? 1 defeat in 10. That's going back since Pardew, when we went 11 unbeaten with that great side in 11-12?
Yeah, 11-12.
So that's a decade ago. That's a decade ago. Ferdinand decides to pester Johnny again. Get out. Ferdinand wants lots of attention. But yeah, in terms of the fixtures going forward, look, Man United away it's horrible for us because we'll take away the Cabai goal, the famous Brazil top, as I say. We've got an awful record there. Everton, it's normally a banker for us. Spurs away is tough. Villa, they're not as good as I don't feel. I think they've
Gerrard's under pressure.
Yeah, I think it is. But let's hope he's still manager by that point. And Southampton away, got an all right record the last couple of times down there. So yeah, Eddie Howe said in his presser that he's going to rotate a lot of players. So
just keep that picture on for a second. You've got those 5 games there. How many points in Newcastle get?
Oh, you asked me this. How many points in October? And I said 8. We're already on 6.
I said in the video, I said, is Everton at home the easiest game on paper? I think when you look at those 5 games and the history of those 5 games, I think Everton at home is still the easiest fixture.
Everton Villa, for me.
Get in the comments. What do you think? Everton at home, is that Everton at home still the easiest fixture that you can see on the screen? Or would you say Villa or even Southampton to an extent? Like I say, they're not playing very well at the minute. Manchester, still not over that Liverpool game, says Sam. Yes, not over that either. Ollie says, I think it's definitely a confidence thing with Miggy. He's always been capable and has definitely always worked hard enough. It was just about whether he had the confidence to go on and do it. Yeah, you're quite right, Ollie. I think you bang on that about Miggy in that respect because he is a confidence player. If you get the best out of him, we'll do all right. Graham says, I've slagged Miggy off. I thought he could turn it around and be one of our best signings, but Eddie Howe, in the trust that he has with him, he certainly turned my view around, which is good. Dart, by the time we should be 3rd now, really. We could have easily got 6 more points from those draws. Interesting, isn't it? Holy cow, there was no manager as mythical as Eddie Howe. If we play anything like we did against Arsenal and City, we will smash Man United. I don't mind watching us smash Manchester United. We're gonna have to talk about Manchester United now, which is just lovely. Make sure you do like this video as we're going through the Manchester United preview. And again, if you want to become a member, it's 99 pence.
Yeah, there's a couple of members that are in. It's great to see. Membership has grown massively. You would have seen a video of me talking about everyone, wasn't it?
Yeah, you were getting emotional, weren't you?
Yeah, we're doing a channel announcement probably in a couple of weeks' time. So if you remember, you've already seen that as well. I talked about what everyone was up to away from NFTV. So it's good.
It was upsetting. I'll tell you what was upsetting was Manchester United winning last night against Newcastle, managed by the former Celtic manager Neil Lennon. On the left is the graphic of the game against Omonia yesterday. On the right is the last Premier League match in where they beat Everton by 2-1. When you look at that team that played last nightly, that defense does not scare me one bit.
Yeah, if you look at the two games, 3 out of the 4 have played each game. So that tells you that it's probably maybe a change at left back. So
do you think he'll start with a left back?
I think he might go with Shaw.
Yeah, so do I. I think
Shaw against Almiron.
I think Ten Hag goes Luke Shaw for this game just because I think he's strong presence. And again,
look at that defense, man.
It's not the Man United of all where you had Evra, Ferdinand.
Dale is shite.
Barcelona have been linked with him,
Oh, he's awful.
I can't believe that. But
it's awful. Lindelof's hit and miss.
The only thing I will say in terms of the defence, I'm sure Rafa Varane came on for Man United last week against Everton, so he could be in for Victor Lindelof, I would have thought. So that's a potential.
That will strengthen them.
That will strengthen them in that sense. Midfield, though, Christian Eriksen didn't start against Omonia. I think it will be Eriksen and Casemiro, which, let's be honest, that's a bit stronger for Man United.
BTEC Longstaff's suspended, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I just think
McTominay.
I just think Casemiro, I think he was given man of the match against Everton last week. Christian Eriksen, of course, you know how good Christian Eriksen is. I think them two will work well, and Newcastle are going to have to be careful with that. I think it wouldn't surprise me if who did we have in midfield last week? Bruno, Willock, and Sean Longstaff. Wouldn't surprise me if Joe Linton comes in. I think maybe need that physical presence in the middle.
Yeah, be an interesting battle of him and Casemiro, or Casemiro stopping Bruno.
The forward three: Rashford, Fernandes, Antony. Let's be honest. I think it's going to be Ronaldo. Martial is fit according to Eric Ten Hag. He should be fit for the game on Sunday, but I do think Ronaldo will start. That front four, yes, is dangerous. We know they're dangerous, but it took them till the 93rd minute to score against Omonia. Against Everton, I think Rashford's had a better start the season because he's dropped massively the last couple of years. He's not even England international anymore. Can I ask you, do you rate Antony? Because I just don't.
He's starting off well. He's got a few goals. I think it's too early.
I think he'll be a Memphis Depay. What Memphis Depay was at Man United.
I think it's too early to tell. I think he's got pace. He's got a great touch on him. Good technique. But it might be too early to say at the minute. So Bruno Fernandes, he needs stopped, I think. Because he's a player that you love to hate, don't you?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I remember when Newcastle took on Man United.
Like a rat, isn't he?
Honestly, I was getting so angry. But to be fair, he's a player that you'd love to have on your team because you'd be defending him all the time. But again, he's been a bit inconsistent so far this season. So it would be interesting. Jadon Sancho, again,
he's off the boil, isn't he? He's not getting the World Cup, is he?
It'll be interesting. It will be interesting whether he'll start. I think obviously the game against Omonia will be the closer team. For all those people out there, Martin Dubravka is on loan, so he can't be on the bench to warm the bench up. But if you look at Man United's form, obviously they played 3 Europa League games and 2 Premier League games in the graphic that you can see. They beat Sheriff 2-0 away from home, which was quite a comfortable win. They beat Omonia, which was only just a win away from home in Cyprus. And then obviously they won at home last night. They've had 4 away games on the bounce, and then I think that Manchester City game, that was unbelievable, wasn't it, Lee? Absolutely, Man City. I say 6-3. It could have been 12-4, 12-5. City could have been 7-0 up at half time, and that's not even exaggerating. Haaland was on fire. Foden was on fire. Grealish was probably Grealish's best game in a City shirt.
It's mad because
they have recovered well from that game.
It was mad because I was coming back, wasn't I, from the Fulham game on the Saturday. I went to the women's game, and my one football app was kept picking. I was like, fucking hell, goal. It's like, fucking hell. Look at the score line. I thought it was like a FIFA score, but yeah, a bit of a hammering. Great to see all
They do score goals, though, Manchester United.
They do, but that's where I think we've got to get. I think it is written for ESM to go on that left flank for me and get attacked. I really do. I think it's a mistake in them, and I think they won't enjoy the high pressing. So, because we do high pressing and put them under pressure, I think it's something that we can nick a goal. I think we will, but they've got after us.
Tough week. That's a tough week of fixtures if you're a Manchester United fan.
Yeah, it is. They've got Man United and Chelsea, so that's a tough.
Man United got Man United, have they?
Man United have got Spurs and Chelsea. I was trying to say that's a tough week. I don't think this is the biggest game of the week for them. Ferdinand, come on. Passing Johnny again.
He loves me for some reason. Look, if you're a Man United fan, Spurs at home after Newcastle and Chelsea away, and then West Ham, that's difficult for Premier League fixtures, let's be honest, but we're not too concerned about them. Hopefully they get beat off the mighty Toon on Sunday. Let's go back to your comments, if we can, Lee, about everything that we've been talking about so far. Wait, there is a name change.
I mean the video title.
Yeah, I think with the stadium name change, look, it could be imminent. Let's be honest, in the next few months. Anthony looked knackered when they took him off. That's going to be a big thing for them.
I wish Harry Maguire was playing though.
Yeah, I hope so as well. But he's not, is he? He's not going to play. It's going to be probably. I think Varane starts. I think they weren't going to risk Varane yesterday. I think he starts against Newcastle with Alessandro Martinez. Too much hate for Miggy. I'd rather have max effort every game than lazy talent. All you people who mocked Miggy now track back. I think it's probably.
I get what he's saying, but it wouldn't put it past you that Miggy goes back down to Miggy. If that makes sense.
No, you never know.
He's got to state the consistency now. He's shown what he can do. He's scoring wonder goals. He's tracking back. He's having a lot more touches in the box. So he's got to start showing that as well.
Yeah.
So,
Have to see what happens. Let's look at the league table. Arsenal top, Manchester City second via points. Spurs on 20 points. Chelsea fourth and 16. Manchester United just above Newcastle. Played a game less on 15. Newcastle could go to fourth if Aston Villa were to beat Chelsea at the same time as Manchester United take on Newcastle at Old Trafford. Could you imagine leaving Old Trafford being fourth in the table? But
I'll take a point.
Yeah, look,
but don't they say after about 10 games, you are where you'll be at the end of the season? So like a Liverpool.
I don't see Liverpool finishing 10th. I have to be honest.
But no,
it will be interesting. But in terms of the table, I know it's still pretty early days, but the goal difference is strong. I know
for a change.
Yeah,
because we're always minus.
You look at Bournemouth, I know they got beat 9-0.
But you talked about Man U. Look at that graphic there. Goals against
15.
15.
They do, like we say, we do talk about the fact they score, but like 17 goals already for Newcastle this season and 9 in the last 2. But, that's obviously a big boost. But I think it's just like I say, that momentum that Eddie Howe was speaking about in his presser today, keeping that momentum going. And look, let's be the best of the rest if you want to look at it in terms of the top 6.
Yeah, I mean, you look at as I say, I've put the results back up again. We're flying at the minute with a lot of goals going in. And the league table, I've switched it back around again. I mean, come the weekend, Newcastle could be in the Champions League spot, which is mental, which is crack as, or worst case scenario. What if we got beat, possibly 8th or 9th? So even that, after 10 games, is still a decent return. A point will probably keep Newcastle in around the Europa League positions or Conference League. Would you take the Conference? No, I'll rephrase that. Would you rather be in the Conference League and out of it?
I want to be back in Europe. So
I do want to be, but it's that competition where you're playing like a team from Azerbaijan in the middle of the third.
If the squads, if we've got a bit more squad depth, I don't
think we're better with not being in it.
No,
in or out.
I think you've got to be in Europe for the players. You need to attract a caliber of player.
Because I think if we go in the Europa League, I think Eddie Howe will take that more.
I think he takes every game seriously.
I think the Conference League, I think you will see the likes of Chris Wood starting, Jacob Murphy starting.
If we're in the Conference League, the League Cup and the FA Cup are not as important to Newcastle United.
Yeah, I think Europe, a long run in Europe is. But you play them daft teams from Cyprus and Liechtenstein.
Don't tell me you wouldn't go.
I'll go to Cyprus. I wouldn't go to Azerbaijan or places like that. No thanks.
That will be interesting.
No, I'm not taking an 8-hour flight and risk my health.
He would. I'm not telling you, he would do that. And let's have a look at Newcastle's last lineup, which obviously was the Brentford 5-1 victory. Nick Pope in goal, of course, in the back four, Trippier, Schär, Botman, and Mr. Byrne. We'll talk about Mr. Byrne in a minute. Bruno, Willock, and Sean Longstaff in the middle, the midfield. Sorry, Miggy, Murphy, Wilson. Let's play predict Newcastle's 11 against Man United, Lee. Does Matt Targett come in for Dan Burn?
Ooh, that's tough because he had a shocking first half. I like his interview. See his interview. He come out and said, I think I was playing for Brentford first half. I like that. Shows a bit of character, doesn't it? But he was fucking shocking first half. I
would play Matt Targett.
I think it's more sensible to play a left back at left back. Because who's he up against?
Probably
Anthony.
Probably.
Yeah. So Anthony will skin Dan Burn.
The pace worries me.
And that then it's interesting who is going to play at centre back, because I still don't think he knows who his best centre backs are.
Well, he does know, because they're the two right in front of your screen right
now.
We'll
see if he plays Matt Targett, we'll see what happens, because for me, and the stats tell you it's Fabian Schär's first choice. He hasn't been dropped.
Yeah, I think Fabian.
No, you tell a lie. He's been dropped for one, but he hasn't been rotated as much as the others.
Does Jamal Lascelles play any games in the next 3?
Yeah, he will. He's already said that he's going to rotate, so it won't be.
I think then, if that's the case, I think you'll see Lascelles and Burn play centre half against Everton.
I think there will be some changes. He's already said that. So, because when Lascelles come in at Anfield, we're like, what the hell's going on there?
Wouldn't surprise me if that was the case against Everton.
To be fair to him, he was sensational, actually.
He was.
That neat. I just don't think. I think you'll see a lot of changes. I think there'll only really possibly 3 players who might be guaranteed to play every game, which are Nick Pope, Kieran Trippier, and possibly Bruno. That will start every game in October.
Yeah, that
assuming they're fit.
Assuming they're fit. Midfield, does Joe Linton come in for Longstaff? Maybe. I don't think you can drop Willock or Bruno at the minute.
Yeah, again, it wouldn't surprise us. I think Sean's in a team where we've scored nine goals. So, although I am a massive critic of Sean Longstaff, it's hard. It's harsh.
He has played unbelievably last 2 games.
It's harsh taking someone out, but it's Man United.
And you sound like Gary Neville. This is Manchester United.
But it's Man United, and you want your best 11. And unfortunately, Sean's not.
Did Joe Linton do enough when he came on to start on Sunday?
He done all right, but
he got the assist, didn't he?
He did, but yeah, I'd start Joe Linton if he put us on it. Yeah, I would. But I think it's harsh on Sean.
So before I go into the last debate, Joe Linton starts for you instead of Sean?
Aye.
Does Targett start instead of Dan Burn?
I can see it happening.
Is that a yes?
Aye.
So Nick Pope, Matt Targett,
in the middle of our goal.
Matt Targett, Sven Botman, Fabian Schär, Kieran Trippier, Joe Linton, Bruno Willock, Miggy and Callum Wilson, I think are guaranteed to start as long as they're not injured in the next training session. And then Jacob Murphy, does Alan Saint-Maximin come in for him? There is an argument, there's a debate.
He should, because I think you'll rip Dallo apart, but I don't think you will.
I think
you'll save him for midweek.
Yeah, so do I. I think Everton at home is made for Alan Saint-Maximin.
I also think Man United, Dallo, I think he's crap. I think he's shit.
That's what I mean. Like I'm
got a bang average right back. He's that shite that they loaned him out.
I'm so undecided.
What's happened to Wan-Bissaka? Is he just fell off the face of the earth, hasn't he?
I think Eddie Howe will want to say Jacob Murphy starts against Man United and ASM starts against Everton. But could you imagine ASM giving you 70 minutes?
Even 20 minutes. 20 minutes against Dallo. How are you, Ferdinand? Come on, get yourself on camera. Everyone wants to see you. How are you?
Stop scratching my leg.
You're not coming again, are you? When he's here, are you? Look at him.
Yeah, look at this, man. You don't get this anywhere else, do you?
Ferdinand, come here.
Go and see him.
Come here.
Good lad.
Come here.
Honest to God, man, you don't get. You don't.
There you go. Say hello to the world. Say hello to the world.
Say hello to the world. You can, as long as you don't say hello to me.
Say hello to your legs.
So yeah, what I was trying to say was, I think I'd love to see ASM play 70 minutes, but I just don't know whether he's got 70 minutes in the tank, and that's why he doesn't start.
I would like him to start. I want him to start, but I agree. I don't think he will. Just because I think Murphy's scored. He's loyal to players who are in form, a bit like Rafa was. So I think Murphy starts, unfortunately.
I'm not going to go unfortunately, but again, I wasn't going to. I just said Lee off camera before we did this video. I said if Murphy starts, I won't be unhappy, because I think there's a debate.
I will be.
I think there's a debate there to have with starting Jacob Murphy. But again, as long as we get end product, Aaron loves Ferdinand. I'm a big fan of Celez. He doesn't scratch me leg for one. But yeah, that's
looking at you.
He is looking at us. He's probably saying, "What's your prediction going to be for the weekend?" Because that's exactly what I was going to say next. What is your prediction, Lee, for the weekend?
I'm going to be optimistic. I don't think we'll win, but I'm going to score draw. I think Man United are there to be had at, and I'll go 1-1. I know it's quite a boring, safe scoreline. I think we will score. I think there's a goal in it, but I think we will concede, and I'll take a draw 1-1. What about you?
I would take a draw, but I think we'll win.
Ooh, do you? And you're not going to be there for that win?
No, but I think we do win.
I'll remind you, though.
I think Newcastle win 2-1. I think Newcastle go 2-0 up, and I think Man United will probably bombard us at the Stretford end for half an hour, and they'll get one back. But I just think Newcastle just have...
Kenny, come on, block Kenny.
Yeah, we'll block him.
How dare
Shocking.
you? How dare you?
Shocking. No, I think Newcastle win 2-1. I really do. I just think... I think everybody... I think a lot of Man United fans will go in... I don't think they'll be scared of Newcastle, but I think they'll be thinking we should win. There'll be a marginal winner, but they'll win it. I just think... You've got to press that defence. I think the first 20, 25 minutes is crucial. I think if Newcastle have a couple of chances and the Man United fans get on their back...
I was about to say, do you think that can happen? That little turn on them?
Maybe not turn. I don't
because now they've got Chelsea and Spurs coming.
Yeah, but I think they'll probably win one of them 2 games because that's just the way Man United are, unfortunately. But I think you have to start Joe Linton. I think if Joe Linton ruffles a few feathers, I think that could be important as well. But the ASM debate will be a debate. But I just fancy Newcastle. Like I say, last 2 games have been brilliant. I can't say it's not scoring on Sunday. I have to be honest, but it's going to be a really, really good game. I'm sure a lot of Newcastle fans will enjoy their trip down to Manchester, or I should say Salford. Let's be honest.
It is Salford, the biggest club in Manchester is Man City.
Yeah, exactly.
That is in Manchester.
Ollie's going 2-2. Wilson penalty and Willock to score. Willock needs to score. Nature Club says 3-2. I'm hoping he's thinking Newcastle. Kind of like Mutu game, weren't we 2-0?
It was Kennedy Mutu. I remember that.
Don't say that.
Shoes off if you love the tune.
I was watching that in the house. I wasn't very well. That was awful. That Wilson hat trick. That'd be class, wouldn't it? 3-1 to the tune. Brentford pressed them to death. We can do the same. Yeah, we definitely can. And plus, we didn't play on Thursday night like they did. And I'd say at least 8 of the 11 are going to play.
They'll probably only get 1 training session, which will be tomorrow. That'll be it. Because they would have flew back.
Well, no, they wouldn't have flown because they're playing at Old Trafford.
Oh, were they? So I thought they were away.
4-1 United.
Which United?
Which United? If it's Newcastle, then I'll agree with you. But yeah, it'll be really, really interesting. And there's loads of videos coming up on the channel, isn't there, Lee?
There is. I'll be doing the drive down preview. Harry, because he goes to uni in Manchester, is literally on his doorstep for a change. So he's got a very, very short trip. So he'll be joining me. And we've got the vlog as well. We'll have the last words. And we'll have an instant reaction around where all the tourists stand and take photos.
That could be us one day.
We're not tourists, though.
No, well.
We've got history. We've got proof over there.
Yeah.
We've got videos left, right, centre.
We were there in the championship days. I remember going to Barnsley away and there was 6,500 of us. Yeah. Again, if you want to follow us, there's our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our website. Again, we are looking for presenters as well, YouTube presenters. If you really fancy it and you want to be the next Lee Lawler or Sam Milner, then... Or
Johnny Greenwood or Carl Bryan, who's busy camping. Where is he now?
I don't know. I think he's taken on, what's he called? What's that? Martin Lewis. He's taking on him at the minute, isn't he?
He's taking on Martin Lewis. Rightly so.
He'd love it. He'd love it. He'd love that as well. He would love that as well. But yeah, I've got loads of stuff coming along there on Newcastle Fans TV. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're not a million miles away from 36,000. If there's only one United, it is us, Graham. I'm a Man United fan. You guys are not winning. Z, you're blocked.
Z, look at your history. We were United 10 years before you changed your name.
Yeah, exactly. There's only one United. Exactly, Graham. Yeah, make sure you watch all the videos over the weekend. Again, Lee and Harry will be there at Old Trafford for Manchester United versus Newcastle at 2 o'clock on Sunday local time as well. So from me and Lee, we'll see you all very soon.